some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 in sympathy.
So, good evening, everyone. We have Warren from Warren's Team Talk and the indomitable Kenny Ken tonight. Unfortunately, Gracie can't make it. She's injured herself. So get well soon, Gracie. Look after yourself. You know, she's hurt. I believe she's hurt her leg. So, yeah, look after yourself. We're going to have a quick chat, very quick chat about the Arsenal Notts Forest game. It was a pretty impressive performance in the second half. And Warren, what was your view on that game, my friend?
I thought the second half was absolutely superb. I really enjoyed it. I was watching it on the Arsenal app last night because, yeah, there's loads of nonsense as usual when I try and watch Arsenal. So I watched it on the Arsenal app last night, and the second half, I thought we were superb. Thomas Partey, I thought in midfield was immense. For me, I think he was the man of the match. Yeah, it just absolutely blew him away. Bit concerned about the first half. There was a spell in that first half where I thought we were struggling to get on top of them, to be honest. And yeah, I think it'd be good if we can have that level of performance for a whole 90 minutes. I know it's not particularly realistic that could happen, but I think we need to try and get that. But yeah, the second half in particular was absolutely superb. And it was nice to see Reece Nelson bagging a couple of goals. Hopefully that'll do his confidence a bit good and whatnot. So yeah, I was impressed. The only thing I said is about trying to get that level of performance for a whole 90 minutes. And I'm just confused about what Jesus' role is. Whether he's there, whether Arteta wants him to bang goals or whether he's there to try and cause as much damage and confusion in the opposition box so that space is created for the wide players to come in and grab the goals, or other players to come in and grab goals. I don't know. I just don't understand it, to be honest. So if he's got number 9 in his back, for me, he's got to score goals. But yeah, that's just me. I'm old school. So,
Kenny, what was? I mean, you were at the game. You saw it live and personal. What was your opinion of it?
You know, that's why it's always good to have yourself and Warren on as well, because like I said, the metamorphosis between the first half and second half is just like, it's amazing, because at the game we were very excited when we scored in the first 5 minutes, but there were a lot of murmurs, people worried, concerned because of the bad performances from previous games, where we're thinking Forest are getting in amongst us and blah blah, and it was like we were saying to each other, what Arteta needs to do is put a bomb up these guys' asses, and lo and behold, they came out really rampant. But I think the catalyst was Reece Nelson's 2 goals and the overall performance. But as what Warren says, Thomas Partey is our best player, and I know a lot of people are going to watch this and what you're saying, Ken, and I get it, because normally Saka gets the headlines, he's an attacking player. Odegaard will get the headlines. Xhaka's getting headlines a lot. But, like last season, where a lot of people with what I call the Granit Xhaka industry were saying, Granit Xhaka is our midfield. Well, Thomas Partey's not just only our midfield, he's our team. you know, you only have to look at the performances when he's not there. That when you think, gee, how much we miss him. I mean, and I think that's the thing. He really is the ink that, you know, like I said, that goes on the paper, and the ink that, you know, signs the checks, because he really is a top player. In the second half, he was magnificent. One thing I would say is that we won't be afforded that amount of space and naivety that Forest gave us, because if you look at it, Thomas Partey was able to, you know, make through passes, what they call pass through the lines. Odegaard had so much space, even though he had people around him for the 5th goal. In against better sides, that's not going to happen, because teams will put the tackle in. So, but one thing is that you have to congratulate the players on, is that if they are going to go for the league, then they have to get the goal tallies up, and they've done it quite magnificently against Forest. But you have to take it what it is, because if you're playing as badly as we were in the last few games and scraping through, or if you like getting by, then I say one thing right now: Forest is like manna for heaven.
Absolutely. The thing is, I thought I made the statement, and you know what I said, Kenny. My belief in that game in the first half was that Arteta was struggling. We scored, we did well, and then this seems to be the way. We let teams come back on us rather than going in and killing teams whilst they're on the back foot. We let them come back at us. And he looked lost. Pictures I saw in that game, he was on the touchline and he looked lost. He didn't, to me, and I was doing a watch along with Gracie-Mae, and I said, he hasn't got a clue what to do now. But then he came out in the second half, made some very, very odd, in my mind, a tactical change. And then very quickly he did another tactical change. And that, I think, confused, it's my personal opinion, confused Nottingham Forest. So, Warren, would you agree, disagree with that my point there? I mean, what was your view on that?
Well, like I said just now, I think we started the game fairly well. We got in front, but then for some reason it just sort of, we lost our way, and then they came back into the game, and I thought for a while there was a spell of 10-15 minutes where I thought they were on top and we were struggling to get control of the game. The second half, I'm not quite sure what the tactical changes are you're talking about, Jez, because I couldn't really see that too well. But all I can say about that second half is that we came out and we looked like we got the bit between our teeth, and we were like trying to put them to the sword, and we just seemed to up it a few levels, and we just destroyed them, to be quite fair.
He made a change, didn't he? He brought on Nelson.
Right, yeah.
He put Cedric and Tierney into a funny position, then changed it again. I was a bit confused by it. I thought, why are you putting Tierney in that position? And
that's now I know what you mean, because he brought Cedric and somebody else on, and then a few minutes later he brought Tierney on, and I was thinking, well, both of them play left back. So what's going on? Where are they both going to play? And
he put Cedric at left back, then he took off what's his name, and then he brought on Tierney, put him left back, and moved Cedric. I thought, well, what's that about?
Yeah, no, I didn't understand it either. I thought it was weird, but I think luckily it didn't stop us, because they just looked like they had the bit between their teeth, and they just went for Forest. And whereas in the part when we were going for that spell, we were struggling, whether we're out of it, I don't know. I hope we are, but I don't know. We seem to, if we got one go up, and it's happened before in a lot of games, we go 1-0 up, and that's it. We just sit back and try and sit on it. But we didn't do that in the second half. We come out and we're trying to get 2, we're trying to get 3, and so on and so forth. And that was good. I like that because I think we've been a bit too negative and played within ourselves a lot in the recent past, and also in the past when this manager's been here. And it was good to see, to be quite frank. So yeah.
Kenny, I mean, you were there. You actually saw what was going down. Did you find that a bit of an odd situation?
I muted myself. Sorry, I muted myself before the game. I was getting a train from New Barnet to Finsbury Park. And a bloke with his son and his son's mate were having a chat with me because he recognised me as Red Ken, and we just started talking. And then his son's best mate, get the team. Announced the team sheet, and Tommy Astor was starting again. So even before then, the conundrum, Kieran Tierney conundrum, was really worrying. And it's quite upsetting, really, because I think collectively a lot of Arsenal fans see him as the best left back in the country. I'm not saying all Arsenal fans, because I know there's a lot of Arsenal fans now who are actually challenging the majority of Arsenal fans' thoughts in thinking that Shevchenko is the best left back at the club, and that he should be starting, and that we actually miss Shevchenko as opposed to Kieran Tierney. But the fact is that it seems that Kieran Tierney is the third choice left back at the football club. Well, whilst last season, when we were earmarking candidates for the captaincy, he was very high up there. So what's gone wrong? We knew he was injured when we bought him. We know he had an injury when he played for Scotland in the League of Nations, a World Cup qualifier playoff against Ukraine. But he's fit and raring to go. There's loads of theories that he can only play once a week and that we're saving his knee, so we might as well play in the Europa games. And I'm thinking, well, if he's only once a week, he should be playing in the league games. He's the best left back in the country. And then there's another conundrum in terms of substitution, that although Forrest are a bit confused with it, I think that it's Operation Granit Xhaka, getting Granit Xhaka to play his better football by pushing him up down the left-hand side. So that way you're not requiring overlaps from Zinchenko and Tommy Astor, especially, who's a right fit player, and that's how you want to do it. So Tommy Astor is a good defender, but even then, by dropping Granit Xhaka going down the left hand side, getting the left backs into the midfield, because he did that with Suarez, Kieran can do that. So what's the problem? What is the problem? Because you're talking about a tactical switch, confusing not on Forest. I think scoring early, the second and third goals, just put out the white flag, and they were just continually panicked. When you panic, you make mistakes. But I think this is a conundrum that is going to become a massive, massive talking point if after the World Cup it's carrying on, because Kieran Tierney surely can't be happy with this. Surely cannot. No. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm very concerned, because I think that we're getting by, but eventually it's going to cost us. It's a massive decision that can go wrong. And this is one of the reasons why I will be going off to the manager regarding this, because this is a selection that I don't agree with. I can't see why he's doing this. I understand it, but I don't like it. And I think that it's a misreading of Kieran Tierney's strengths.
I totally agree with you. And we'll move on to a point that I think is very important. Saka got injured early on, and he went down. The physios came on, looked at him, and he looked after that, to me, not 100%. And this is something I find very annoying. And I'll ask you this one first, Kenny. With Arteta, we've seen him do it with other players. They go down, they're clearly not physically right, yet he'll keep them on. Because why? Why do that to a player? You know, this guy is played week in, week out. He's clearly a big part of the team. Why do you think he does it? Why?
Well, we the first time we realised he was that kind of manager was Thomas Partey, in the North London derby.
Yeah.
When I first smashed us, Spurs played a blinder against us, let us do all the work, and then beat us 2-0. When he was clearly had some injuries with a thigh or a muscle problem, pushed him on the pitch because he didn't want to be down to 10 men. And you're right, it's Mikel Arteta. I personally think, and a lot of people don't agree with me, I get it. I think Mikel Arteta feels that his most important player and his best player isn't Granit Xhaka. It's not Gabriel Jesus. It's not the two Gabriels, Martinelli and Magalhaes. It's Saka. He really, really rates this player so highly. Like maybe it's like an experiment with him. Like Saka's, our very own Raheem Sterling. Because you've got to think. Because remember when Guardiola first went to Man City, there was an assumption wrongly that Sterling would be a casualty. Yet, you've always got a feeling that Pep was so excited to work with him because of the fact that, he had real pace, real place, someone who can run with him. Because if you look at Pep, one of the things he doesn't normally work with is that someone real pace. He always had possession, and quick movement. But to have someone with genuine pace, he's really excited about it. And I think that's the same with Saka. One of the reasons why Saka's got to play every game, because I genuinely believe, and part of me probably agrees to a certain extent, he's still our most dangerous player. He still, can beat his man. He can still get that extra touch, which will draw a foul, and he will still get his shots off. And I think that's the mindset that if this guy goes down, no, I can't do everything. Even if he's 80%, he's playing. And that's going to be the situation. And we're just going to have to always hide behind the sofa every time Saka gets injured, because we know what's going to happen. His manager's going to force him to play because he needs him.
Absolutely. I just find that ridiculous, personally. I'll just answer very, very quickly before I come to you, Warren. BKT, Jez, can you answer about the Lee Juzzers controversy that you're within? Please, how did that come about? No, it's not personal. It's not controversy. It's purely the fact certain people make out that back in time they were at the North Bank doing this, doing that. And I can assure you, fact, he was never there. He was never in the North Bank back in the time when he says he was. Because I can tell you for why. Having spent the amount of years I was in that North Bank, I never saw him. I probably knew at that point in time in the North Bank over 300 people who stood in various places. Now, when the North Bank was terraced, everybody had the same spot. Kenny, you were there. Warren, you were there. I know where you stood, Warren, because you used to stand in front of the stanchion.
That's right.
Yep. So I know so many people in that section of that part of the North Bank, he was never there. And that is a blatant blag. Same as a certain other actor on that AFTV who made out he was at the 89. There was probably 1 million Arsenal fans at Anfield, 89. 1 million. The amount of people said they were there. Well, no. A certain person on AFTV said he was at that game. No, you weren't. Unless you were a season ticket holder, you could not have got a ticket. And that gentleman in question was not a season ticket holder. Watch an interview he did on some idiot lady American Arsenal knows it all channel. Listen to the facts. It's all out of context. It's all wrong. It's bullshit. And that is what annoys me. It's not personal. I don't know the guy personally, but I don't like that. And that's how it is. But Warren, sorry, let's get back to it. What's your view on the Saka thing?
Right. Before I say people, I just want to say everything Jez is saying about North Bank is true, right? Jez knows exactly where I stood. He's got it bang on. And I didn't know everyone by name, but I used to see the same faces week in, week out in the same positions in the ground. And there was a famous pop star who stood a few steps down from where I stood. But anyway, going on to the Saka thing, right? I saw him last night. He was hobbling around for a good 15, 20 minutes, right? He looked like he was able to pass the ball without too much problem. But then when he was trying to walk around, he looked like he was hobbling to me. And I just do not understand why the Arteta and his coaching staff didn't get him off, because surely him staying on that long has probably made the injury that he's got worse. And surely it must have done. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a medic, but I would have thought it would have done. I can't see how him running around like that would have done it any good. And he should have been brought off. And Arteta's done stuff like this before. There was that famous incident with Thomas Partey when he was trying to push him back onto the pitch. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And, you know, I just think he needs to listen to players and trust the players more. And they know their bodies. And, you know, because otherwise he's either going to end up falling out with players, or he's going to do serious injury, and that will upset players as well. You know, because they're going to end up missing out on World Cups and, you know, European Championships or South American Championships or continental tournaments and whatnot. And that's one thing that will annoy players, or they miss out on really important games that they want to play in for the, you know, for their own personal interest and what have you. And if they miss out because of something he's done, they're not going to be happy.
No, I totally agree with you, mate. Considering the World Cup's coming up,
yeah,
he needs to be fully fit. It's a good point from Zach Tyron. We need to prioritise, get the striker, winger, CAM and DM in the transfer windows. Injuries in key positions are bound to happen, and it will lead to poor results in the league and Europe. Yes, a point. Kenny, Lee, Warren, we've all been making this, haven't we, Kenny? We need to do this. And
touching your point and touching on Zach's is definitely, because I think what's happening is that, you know, universally, you speak to any Arsenal fan, the squad's too thin. That's you can't be accused of pessimistic or stating a fact. You're saying it's too thin because you know, because we've been watching football virtually all our lives, and you know, because we've the older we get, we understand what's required to win the championship, the league, and first and foremost, it's volume of points. That's the obvious, and volume of goals as well. You know, breaking goal scoring records, and you know, because goal difference is like premium in modern football nowadays. But most importantly, you have to have a situation like a squad player who can come and do work for you. Because you think about it, I was on Twitter, and one of the things I remember is Martin Hayes coming on against Middlesbrough in 1989 at Ayerton Park, and he got that late goal, and we won 1-0. And you think about it, Martin Hayes hardly ever got a kick, but you know that you knew of Martin's quality because of the 2 seasons before when we won the League Cup or Little's Cup, he scored 24 goals, league and cup goals. So it's one of those things where, you know the squad's clean. You know there's a gap of quality between Jesus and Eddie. You know there's a gap in quality between Albert and Albert and Thomas Partey. So immediately those 2 positions are ones you earmark, and then the right back conundrum. Not so much this season, but further on, if we're going to be regular, title challengers or title winners, we pray, you can't. That right back situation eventually is going to bite us up the arse, because, as much as Benjamin's playing well this season, what happens with good teams, they work you out. not just at international level, but at Premiership level as well. So you are going to want an orthodox right back, and that is something we've got to look at in the future. But short term, by the January transfer market, we don't buy, we will not win the Europa League, or we will not win the league, because we won't even compete for it, because there will be injuries, there'll be players losing form as well. So for me, have to buy. If you don't buy, then it'd be a chance that we forsake. And we've done this before. We did it in 07, 08, and we did it at 13, 15. We didn't, as I say, game manage their season, and it just petered out.
Warren, what's your view, my friend?
Sorry, Jez, what was the question again? Sorry, mate.
About who do we need? What players? Striker, winger, central attacking midfielder, and a defensive midfielder. Do you think that will happen?
No, I don't think it will, but I think we need a backup goalkeeper. I think we need a striker, but a striker who is lethal inside the penalty area, because I don't think Jesus is that player. I just don't think he's going to score that level of goals. I really don't. I think we need a winger, and I think we need a DM, and probably an attacking midfielder as well. But I don't think we'll get it. I think that particularly when the World Cup's over, if we're still sat top or second, the excuse will be, well, look where we are in the league. We don't need reinforcements. But my argument would be, well, now's the perfect time to go and kick on and make sure we got adequate cover or reinforcements in the positions where we're not as strong as we could be, to push the challenge on. Because to be honest, I'm not particularly interested in finishing top four. I want to win the league and challenging the cup tournaments. I remember when I was a kid, Jez, standing on the North Bank and hearing the North Bank singing, "We're going to win the league, we're going to win the league." I never heard anyone singing, "We're going to finish fourth," or anything like that. So now for me, we have to win the league, and I think to do that we need reinforcements. But I don't think we'll get it.
This is a massive argument. But very quickly before I make a statement, Chandler Carl, big up lads. Questions. One player you would want in January, Arsenal's title challenge and World Cup semi-finalists and winner predictions. One player I want in January, I would certainly like to go for Maddison. I think he wants out for sure. Arsenal's title charge. We are charging, but come next April, will we? Because we need investment. Warren, Kenny have just made the statement. I've made it. Lee's made it. And I know a lot of other Arsenal people have made it, that we need to invest. We need to invest to strengthen the depth of this squad. You look at every single game. We have the same starting 11 pretty damn much. Look at our bench. It's championship standard. It's not good enough. So, Kenny, what's one player you'd buy in January? Answer the question. And thank you, mate. Thank you very much for the super chat. It's very kind. Thank you.
You know what? It seems like I'm not going to surprise any of you, both of you, but it seems like there's a tug of war between over this player, and it's striker. And I think you know where he's situated. He's situated on the River Thames near Kew Gardens. Ivan Toney. I genuinely believe he'll basically like be a breath of fresh air. He will enlighten the place, and what will happen is that he gives us another option, especially in certain games, because we're same old in terms of our attack, but he can hold the ball up. He's a good runner of the ball, and he's got a good eye for goal, and he will score goals for us if we're playing this attack, getting bodies forward, and he's going to be playing with better players. He's a player that I would like to see. In terms of midfielder, the guy from Lazio is Mihailovic Savic. I'd definitely like. What was his name? The guy from me. He's I'm a big fan of his as well, but he won't come. But in terms of like midfield, we really, really, really could do with another midfielder. And I wouldn't say no to Douglas Luiz as well in terms of quality, because that is a quality player. Obviously, it's going to hurt Unai Emery at Villa, but I'm only interested in Arsenal. But then you get those two players, you get definite quality to the squad. You bridge the gap a little bit between the quality, the Partey and Douglas Luiz. You bridge the gap a little bit between Jesus and my guy Tony, and then I think fans will be satisfied, especially with the potential they bring, and hopefully be pleased with the quality they display and their proof of the quality. But people are going to say, well, what about Eddie? It's harsh on Eddie. Sorry, mate. Football waits for no one. You don't pay 100k players to put in performances like that. You don't pay 100k players to not hardly lay a glove on Gabriel Jesus. You should be pushing for that place. You should be taking the place off him on 100k a week, not just just wait and be happy with your 10 minutes here and there. I mean, Eddie, I'm sorry, I'm not waiting around for you. We've missed out on Balogun because of you kicked the door in and put yourself in front of him, and that's commendable. Even though we think Balogun's better than you, it's commendable. But since then, nothing. So time waits for no one. I want another body in, because you're not cutting it for me, and we're not going to win the league if we're going to rely on you.
No,
sorry, I feel.
No, we're not. Warren, what's your point? I think the point Kelly's made there about Ivan Toney, we look, we just got to go in there to Brentford and say, right, we want him, we're going to pay, let's do the deal, get him on board, strengthen us coming into the second part of the season. I'd like us to go for Maddison as well, personally. I know we were all talking in the past about Tielemans. Personally, when I saw him when we played Leicester, I thought he was crap. What's your view, Warren?
Well, I agree with you, Jez. I'd like Tony, and whatever it takes to get him, I think we should go and get him, because we need competition in every single position. There should be a 1 to 11, and then they should have another 11 behind them who are pushing them all the time, so that if they slip up or they don't perform, they're out, and the other player takes their place. Because I don't think we've got that at the moment. If someone doesn't perform at the moment, most of the positions on the pitch, the replacements, they're just not good enough. I mean, look at the goalkeeper situation. Would you feel happy or confident with that American chap coming in to replace our current goalkeeper? Because I wouldn't. I'd be really nervous about it. So yeah, I see Ivan Toney, but I also want James Maddison.
Absolutely, I totally agree with all of that.
Jez, that's the thing. That's why I like him. He's got a goal threat.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to move on. We've got FC Zurich at home Thursday tomorrow. Kenny, are you going to that game?
I am. It's on my. I was actually having a bit of a laugh and a tug of war with a Spurs fan, because I did something with Fred yesterday, and he said he knows for a fact I wouldn't go to the game. I had to correct him and say, if it's on my season ticket, I will be attending the game because I've paid for it. So I'm not gonna, if I'm available, and I always make available, I'll go to the game. But in terms of like the game itself, I've echoed my feelings about this tournament since God bless her soul. We had that unfortunate situation where we lost Her Majesty, during the Zurich game. And
Yeah.
the group stages, if you go back to our participation 5 years ago, hasn't changed. It's not of any sufficient quality whatsoever. And, tomorrow it's just going to be, with Chelsea coming up, you would like to think that, players like Marquinhos, Reece Nelson will get a chance. Turner will play definitely. And you give Rob Holding will get a game. I'll be gutted if Tini starts, because if he starts on tomorrow, then his height he's not going to be able to play. He won't start against Chelsea. So that game, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but all we need is a point to win the group. And I think that well, actually, we don't need a point, because if we get a point and PSV win, then I suppose they will finish top because of the head-to-head. So yeah, we need. But come on, do you seriously think that if we played the team that played against Zurich in the first game, is it good enough to beat Zurich's second game, or am I being presumptuous? I probably am, because of the way we've played before. It does look lopsided, some of our teams.
I mean, personally, I think I'm going 3-0 Arsenal on that. Warren, your view on the game?
I think it's going to be. I think he's going to play a weakened side for sure, and I think we'll win 2-0. We need to win the game definitely, because if we finish second, it's going to be really tricky. So I think we need to go and win the game, and I think we will, and I think it'll be comfortable 2-0. I don't think it'd be a pretty game to watch. But yeah, I think we should have enough to beat them, even with what will be in effect a second string team.
This is a very interesting point from my point of view. Our second string team. Can you imagine our second string team in the Champions League? So this makes me briefly onto a point. Reece Nelson came on and basically changed the game against Nottingham Forest. Do you think, Warren, he should start tomorrow night?
I think he should, and I think he will. But I don't think he should start next Saturday, or next weekend, against Chelsea.
No, but the point in question is the fact, looking at our second string team, is we know Tina Turner's going to be in goal, and I hope Saka isn't playing, because I think he needs to be rested, and if he's fit for the Chelsea game, which I've seen reports he will be, and I hope he is, we're going to need him. So I hope Reece Nelson does start, because I think the guy's hungry. I think he wants to prove himself to get into the team, into a starting lineup, and I hope he does. So that's what we're going to see. Kenny, do you think Reece Nelson will start tomorrow night?
Keep on muting myself because I want to listen to it. So I genuinely think that I would like to see Reece Nelson on the left. I would like to see Marquinhos on the right hand side, and I can't see any reason why he wouldn't start. He's playing with confidence. He's not going to be playing a very good, particularly great side, so he should be wearing to go. He's going to be wearing to go. He's going to have all the space that he'll need, and hopefully it's a similar result. But going to your point about your concerns about the gap in quality between the first team and the second string, I hear you, because in terms of us winning the league, you can't have that much gap in quality, because and that's no disrespect to the players, but you have to be honest. If you're a big club, it's sink or swim. Rob Holding ain't going to win you a title, is he? Cedric Suarez ain't going to win you a title. And that's Eddie Nketiah ain't going to win you a title. Matt Turner's not going to win you a title. And, Mohamed El Neni, lovely bloke, respect for him all the time. You'll have him around because he'll do you a job. And, he's probably the best of what I call the second string because of the fact that he'll do anything the manager says and he'll do it to the best of his ability. And on the odd occasion, the best of his ability is good enough. So I won't include him. But but a lot of people would and say, you know what, that's the areas that we need to improve. So yeah, playing ball means in the in the game tomorrow. But Chelsea, no way. Wolves, no way. And then when it gets into the business side of the Europa League, that's when you're going to know about, our depth of squad because, the temptation may be to prioritise one over the other. But I reckon that if you get decent quality in January, you can, attack two fronts, the Europa League and the league. And obviously, one of the competitions I think Arsenal should be going for is the FA Cup as well, because I think the fans would like a day out of Wembley. So that's what Man City do. Man City do it. Chelsea do it. And Liverpool did it last season. They attacked all four competitions. So that is the litmus test for any big team. You can't prioritise one over the other because you can't call yourself a big team if you're doing that. West Ham had to put all their eggs in the basket of the Europa League because they're West Ham. That's no disrespect to West Ham. They're West Ham. Arsenal are bigger than West Ham. And we have to win the trophies on all fronts.
Totally agree. Gracie-Mae's asking, the fact that Nketiah is on 100 grand is a joke a week. How many goals has he scored this season? None. Personally, and I'll come to you on this one, Warren, I think the guy's absolute rubbish. Seriously. I think the guy's crap. Why? And this is what annoys me with the likes of Edu. Why would you give him 100 grand a week? What did he prove that he was worth that? I just don't see it. I'm not going to get into the shirt thing because that's by the by. But 100 grand a week and you haven't scored a goal? What's your view, Warren? What do you think on that one?
I think it's disgraceful. I really do. I don't understand why he's still at the club. I mean, he was at Leeds in the Championship, and he couldn't get in the team over the young fella they had then. I can't remember his name. Yeah, exactly. Couldn't get in the team ahead of Bamford. And, if he didn't succeed in the Championship, why does the club think he's going to do it in the Premier League? I just don't understand it. And, paying someone 100 grand a week, to me, smacks of desperation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. Totally agree with you.
I mean, the trouble is now we're not going to be able to get rid of him. If they took the decision, we've made a mistake, we need to move him on. Who's going to take him and pay him 100 grand a week or more to get him out of the club?
Well, you have to take a drop in wages, that's for sure. Kenny, I mean, you've seen him live this season. What's your point in him? I mean, do you see anything?
I'm disappointed. I think he'd be disappointed with his performances. I'm disappointed with what I'm seeing, and I think the manager would be frustrated with him as well because, that's not the deal. Not the deal. I know Jesus has been playing out of his skin, but come on, man. There's got to be a situation when you've got to give us, another dimension. There's got to be a time when we're struggling, right? We're struggling to break teams down. You're the guy who can come on and change something. Or if Jesus gets injured, we don't have to worry because we can play a different way because you are giving us another dimension. And he's not doing that. I mean, I say it respectfully. because I'm in a good mood. But come on, but Lacazette wasn't exactly a hard act to follow. It wasn't. Lacazette was bereft of any motivation, confidence, whatever you call it, and definitely goals. So it wasn't a heart-rendering, agonising decision for Eddie to replace him. And Eddie took his chance. But, this is real quality. Replacing Lacazette, it means nothing because it's a different season. Challenging who a lot of people at the football club think is a real deal for his shirt is something that you've got to aspire to. Surely you've got to be doing that. Right now, you can't go on Arteta's door and knock on the door and say, hang on, I'm not happy with this. Surely you didn't sign £100,000 a week contract to just play in the Europa League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, and come on for 10 minutes and have your manager shouting at you because you're not pressing. Come on, man. 100, you've got to be better than that. You have to be better than that. We shouldn't have been even talking about, getting Ivan Toney this January. We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't even be talking about or agonising over the decision to send Balogun on loan at his expense and for your benefit. We should be doing that. But because you haven't produced, we're doing it.
Exactly. And quickly, Jan's put a comment here. This PR thing that's come out. What's this rumour about Arteta is wanted by Barcelona? Kenny, go on, far away. I know what you think.
Well, personally, I just think there's going to be no processes at Barcelona. That clearly there's going to be a lot of players. There's a lot of big name players, and they ain't going to be putting up with this. Some of the dignity some of our big stars put up with him before. And let's face it, if he goes to Barcelona, it wouldn't be on what he's doing at Arsenal. It would have been on recommendations from friends, just like he got the job here on recommendations from friends. But him and Barcelona, it won't work out. It just wouldn't work out. The only person who's more suited to Barcelona is actually the guy who Aston Villa got. I was astonished when the Barcelona job was made available. They didn't go with Unai Emery because he would have sorted that out. He would have sorted out. There's some Arsenal fans who say that they have nightmares about Unai Emery and they put him under sufferance. But some of them are just Wenger fans. Some of them are wannabe journalists who go on boring podcasts, or run boring podcasts, who think that they're more intelligent than anyone else. That if they don't have lavatories in their houses because they don't need them because they're of a supreme deity that doesn't involve us three. Those people, I'd take no notice of them because really and truly they change with the wind. They look at what's popular on social media and terraces and replicate that. Or if they find a way to look down on people like us three, or the three of us, then they'll grab that opportunity. So the anti-Unai Emery industry, like they said, football wasn't sustainable. Stop trying to copy other podcasters who see themselves as the thinking man's football fan. Be yourselves.
Totally agree, mate. A valid comment there. Warren, do you see any concrete evidence in this that Barcelona want Arteta?
No. If there's the only truth I could see in it is that they might be trying to unsettle him. I don't think they're going to come in for him at all. I just don't see it happening. And then I wouldn't be surprised to find out it's Arsenal that put that story out. Because it wouldn't be the first time they pulled a stunt like that. So, no, I don't believe it for 5 minutes. I just don't think that Barcelona would go for him. Let's be honest about it. If he'd gone there when he came to Arsenal and he'd performed the way he performed the way he did here in his first few months at Barcelona, he wouldn't have lasted 6 months. They would have had him out. because they don't tolerate that carry on. I mean, if you lose the more than 3 games on the bounce, the white handkerchiefs come out, and that's it. You're done. They just don't tolerate like failure. Like it's really, really cutthroat. I just cannot see that at all. I don't. I just do not believe it.
No, I think it's just journalism. They like to do this, and it's absolute crap. But we've got this weekend, Chelsea away, down the bridge. Kenny, you'll be at the game, I dare say.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I say it, and it's actually something that I'm not ashamed of admitting anymore. But my favourite away ground is Stamford Bridge. I love going there. It's not because it's Chelsea, but it's because I want to beat them. And like I've finally taken Chelsea really, really seriously since Romain went to the club and they started winning trophies. And just like it's not as much. I don't want to beat Chelsea as much as I want to beat Spurs, but I really want to beat them. Even when they're bad, I want to beat them because I'm born like that, and I feel it. And it's not because I have to say. I feel animosity towards Tottenham, but not towards their fans because I grew up with a lot of them, and some of them are family members. But Chelsea's a game I want to win because it's where it still hurts. They knocked us off our perch as London's top club, and also most importantly, you know, they've given us a few hammerings, and you know they treated us like little boys in some big games in cup finals. You know what I mean? So obviously it's a game I look forward to. And plus, I've made a few friends at Stamford Bridge, and I'm genuinely not this, you know, like football factory silliness, but genuinely friends. So it'd be nice to see them. But football's the winner, and I want us to go there and win. But you know, with Chelsea, we've had many conversations where collectively we've probably all written Chelsea off, and sometimes individually. And what happens if any club can upset the apple cart, just like the Germans do in international football? Chelsea are one of those clubs, and that's why I never write them off, especially with Graham Potter's record against us as well, and the fact that Aubameyang's going to be playing. He's going to want to put something up one over us, and obviously Sterling as well. They've got loads of injuries though. If you think about the midfield, I'm hearing Kovacic.
Reece James is out, isn't he? Reece James is out.
Kante's out. Kovacic is out as well. He's on the injury list. So you look at our midfield and you think, you know what? That's a midfield that we can dominate, but because you don't know who they're going to play in midfield. You know Juninho is going to have to play. If they play Juninho, Conor Gallagher, and Loftus-Cheek, I'm going lovely. Our midfield's much stronger than that, but there's something about Chelsea. It's the defending. You know what I mean? The fact that, you know, if he's playing players like, you know, Reece, that midfield three, and he's got Mason Mount. One of the things that Graham Potter's really good at is he's a possession-based manager, but he still doesn't know his team. He's still trying to keep Kukurea happy and Chilwell happy. He's indecisive with that, and I think he's indecisive a bit about the goalkeeper situation. Even though Kepa's injured and he's been playing well, still doesn't know about that. So if there's a good time to play Chelsea when there's a bit of indecisiveness about their team line-up and indecisiveness about the manager, then yeah, all day long. I know Carrington, you say Aubameyang won't play. I think psychologically Chelsea will want him to play because they know that's a game when he's going to be at it. So I think he will play.
Ooh. Totally agree. He'll be out there. Warren, what's your view on that game? And we'll do this, and we'll give our game predictions for Sunday midday kickoff. We all know how Arsenal love a midday kickoff. But what's your view, my friend? What do you think is going to be the result?
I think we'll win. And I really hope we do because I've got a strong disliking for Chelsea. No disrespect to Chelsea fans, but I have. And it goes back years and years, way before they became successful as well. I just don't like the club. I just don't like the way it goes about its business. And like I say, it goes back years, and all the hooliganism and all the rest of it they've got associated with the club and everything. It's just I just don't like them. I don't dislike them as much as I do Tottenham, but there's not much between the two of them, to be honest. But I think we'll win because we've got a good record against them recently, and I think we're going to go there and turn them over. I'm quite confident, to be honest.
Fair play. Well, my prediction is I'm going Chelsea 1, Arsenal 2. Kenny, your view? What's your prediction?
I've muted myself again, but you know what? I don't know because, if Arsenal win, then that's a shot in the arm because I've always thought that I was on another show and I always said that if Arsenal to challenge the title, these are one of the grounds they've got to win at. And I include, like Main Road. Sorry, quick to call it Main Road, Etihad, Anfield, Tottenham Hotspur stadiums. Stadiums we don't traditionally do well in. Although last 2 seasons we've beaten Chelsea, but this is a Chelsea team that, until they had that bad result against Brighton, they were actually in results-wise in good form. I don't think their performance was great enough, but results-wise they're in really good form. The thing about Chelsea is that they do have a threat. They are going to come to win, and they got a deeper squad than we have. But I'm just thinking, I'm still not convinced of our performances, even though we smashed Forest to pieces, because we know how Forest had their heads down. So I'm going to go up a draw because of the previous performances before then. But hey, guys, if it's like 2 o'clock and I'm smiling, we've won. We turn them over again. But yeah, I'm going to go for like 2-2. 2-2, yeah. I agree with Luca. 2-2.
All right, fair play. Diego, it's at the bridge, man. It's at the bridge. Arsenal are away. We've had good success there in recent years, so I'm.
How we managed? You know what? They used to be a team. Remember how they didn't beat us for 10 years between 95 and 2005, and then they went on this run where they just kept on smashing us to pieces. Thanks, Barry. And then for some reason, since Tuchel's come to the club, we become their bogey team. Or sorry, not Tuchel, Big Frank. Although Tuchel and Big Frank won at the Emirates, but we beat in the cup final in 2020, and then we remarkably, because let's face it, I never understand beating them last season after the fact we got smashed, lost 3 games in a row. So I don't know, man. We are better than them, but we have to prove it. You know what I mean, Jess?
I totally agree. The only thing is they've got Graham Potter. All right, last week Chelsea were a pony against Brighton, but Graham Potter, to me, I don't know about this fella. He seems to be a bit of a bogeyman for us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go. I've said I'm staying with my 2-1. I'm staying with that. If Aubameyang's playing, he's going to want to stick one on us. And okay, fair play. We'll have to take that on the bleeding chin. But I'm going to wrap it up, guys. And thank you for everyone that's watched. Smash the likes up. If you're new, like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel. I'm just going to say that the history stuff that I do, I'm going to do a few new things. I'm going to do some things on individual players, some of the iconic players Arsenal have had over the years. If you think that's a good idea, let me know if you're interested in any of that, and give me a few clues. We'll talk about it. And Warren sent me something today. It was about the 70-71 double season. And I might ask Warren very kindly if he can send that to me so I can show it on a show. It was the team that did the double, and you can clearly see the WM in that formation that Herbert Chapman developed in 1928, 27. Well, when he was before that, 1924, 25, 26, when he was actually at Huddersfield, and it went on to form the way modern football was played, and it's quite clearly proven what Warren shows. So I'll have a chat with Warren at some point, and maybe we can pop that together and show that on one of the history things when it comes to. So
it's your show, but you think about it. There's some iconic people you can talk about. You could do a show on Herbert Chapman. Don Howe is someone that a lot of our fans don't know about, because you think about his contribution to that great club is very much underrated, because you think he was the coach. Yeah. He was like the coach when we won a double, and then after we left, that's when we went back to the Doldrums. And Terry Neal brings him back, and you think about the players that George Graham inherited. It was under John Howe and Terry Neal. So those, in terms of your History Channel, you've got so much mileage. In fact, you could do a year's worth of History Channel on individual players, because remember, we've won league titles. You've got loads of material, and then obviously the European nights as well, and even players like Martinez, Paul Vasson, who players don't know about, because there's a lot of people in this. Joel, I do remember that. I remember that, mate. I do remember, Joel, getting a bear hug from you. But as I said before, I can go, Jez, there's loads of our fans right now, and even some of our super fans who needs a history lesson. And you're the man for it. And you, not just Jez, you, Warren, as well. You do a bit of History Channel as well. There's loads of players. If you think about the success of our football team, it's phenomenal. We're the third biggest club in the country. You've got loads to work with, loads of material. Manage individual. When you want to talk about individual players, individual managers, where's pricked up? Because I can think of 50 right now for you to do. And that'll go to 2024. You know what I mean?
I've got a whole massive list actually. I went through yesterday. It was actually my wife's idea. I said to her, the history stuff's not getting great views, people aren't really interested. But I said to Warren previously, Kenny, I get a lot of people from other football clubs watching the history stuff because they're interested in football history in general. So they find it interesting. You don't get a lot of young Arsenal fans watching because I don't think they really care. They're only interested in modern times, and I get that. But
if they're young, though, innit? They're young. You've got to remember when we were their age. We were watching things like Tiswas, Sally James in leather. I keep doing that. So I've got to stop doing that to you, especially when you told me you had an heart condition. I've got to stop that. But I'll do it one more time anyway. But make sure you take your pills. Sally James in leather.
Yeah.
Bob Carriages, and then you've got a SWAT shop with Noel Edmonds and John Craven, and then you've got things like Why Don't You, and you've got like Going Live with Sarah Green and her husband Mike Reed. And when we were their age, those are the programs we had. And I think what's happening is that they're young, innit? They want about now, and they want to be entertained. So, our fans who've got colloquialisms and don't go by their real names are the ones that they want to hear from. But there's loads of fans who have been neglected in terms of like shows for them. So, as Joanne's one of them as well. We all want to know about Herbert Chapman because
I've done a massive. I did a massive show 3 months ago, Joe, about Herbert Chapman.
Yeah, that's it.
go back and have a look. I did about an hour something or other about Herbert Chapman. I've done part 1, part 2, Arsenal in the glory 30s. I'm doing part 3 soon, and that will be the final chapter of Arsenal in the 30s. One of our greatest periods in history. It's all on the channel. Go and have a look. You'll find it. And if you're into all that, then that's great. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up, people. And there's lots of people scoring his first goal. After how long? Yeah, I remember that.
We still lost.
Chapman was a player managed by the first black player in the Football League, Arthur Wharton. Is that
Arthur
right?
Wharton, yeah. I think Arthur Wharton was the first black player. Because he came from in the league. But I think Herbert Chapman, he played at Tottenham, didn't he?
He did. He did play for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Then he went off to manage Huddersfield Town.
Yeah. Matt Basby played for Liverpool, even though he's a Man United icon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, guys, yes, he is buried at Hendon Cemetery. I've actually been there and seen it. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Warren, thank you for coming on, man. Give your channel a shout out, please.
Yeah, so my channel is called Warren's Team Talk. Every Saturday I do a live show on a Saturday starting at 2:30. And what we do is we go through all the matches, kick off at 3:00 for up and down the country, Premier League, Championship, Scotland, all up and down the country. And it's great laugh, a lot of banter. And it's a bit like Sky Sports Soccer Saturday. A light-hearted version, if you like. So I do that. I've been working on a show. I've got to mention this earlier, Jez. With Del Boy and I have been working on a show about Liam Brady. Okay. After all that drama that I got involved with the banner and the local MP and stuff. So we're going to do a show of his life and his career. So that'll be coming out soon. I've going to be doing some stuff for the World Cup as well. So come and check me out. I'm on Instagram as well. So thanks very much for having me on, Jez. I really appreciated it and really enjoyed the chat. I thought it was great. So thank you very, very much.
Mate, it's always a pleasure. You're a top fellow, Warren. The content you do on your shows is amazing. I wish I had the ability of what you do, but thank you, mate. You're always welcome on here. Kenny Ken, shout yourself out, man. Shout where we can find you.
Well, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter, but we have more fun collectively on Instagram because I just see a headline and I'll just go for it. I think let's have a bit of fun. I think life's about fun. Last few years have been really, really terrible. Not great for me. I just want to learn how to laugh again, enjoy myself. So Twitter's, Instagram is going to be a good thing to do. Right now, what am I going to do? I don't know. I've got a choice of Hollyoaks or Strictly Takes Two. And seeing I'm 50, I don't think Hollyoaks is going to cut it for me. So it's going to have to be Strictly Take Two.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right, we're going to call it there, people. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Two absolute icons, legends of Arsenal. And there's going to be more content coming. I'm sure you'll see Kenny and I on Lee's channel tomorrow night doing our fan cams, player ratings and all that. And then again on Sunday. And Gracie-Mae, hope you're getting well. Look after yourself. You've obviously done some damage. That's not good. I'll do the outro and we'll see you all soon, people. Take care.
I'm relieved to hear that you've been to some far out places. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live